serious Redditors who are no longer suicidal. What changed? Nothing actually. I just realized that if I commit suicide, I will hurt my mom and little brother for the rest of their life. So I have to be strong for them even if my life sucks. Also, there are even more f***ed up life than mine. And those people still's alive. So why I shouldn't? Same here. I realized that my partner would be the one to find my body. My parents and siblings would suffer. I'd never see my nephew again, and also I have so much debt that the thought of my parents finding out I lied about finances and might have to pay some off. I know from experience that this could happen. Stop me. I wanted to kill myself last year. Even purchased the tools to get it done. But then I thought about how impossible it seems to even have a life. The relationship between the universe and consciousness, and how that relationship has formed my life on this planet and in this body is so mysterious. It seems like there should be no experience at all anywhere in the universe, yet here I am, experiencing. It was then I realized that experience itself, even if it's a bad one, is an impossible gift to be treasured. This is what changed for me as well. The mystery of consciousness. And treasuring that experience tends to make it better as a side effect. This is what led me to believe one of the best answers to suicidal tendencies is just a little existentialism, especially for non-religious folks. I wanted to kill myself on and off for more than a decade, and not believing in anything didn't help me convince myself life was worth living. Now I believe in the human spirit and, like you say, the gift of consciousness. No religion required. The government noticed it hadn't been paying me my severe disability payment for the past 2 years. Sent me a letter and a lump sum of back payments to apologize. And raised my monthly income by about £300. I am now simply poor rather than cripplingly poor. So throwing myself off a bridge is no longer constantly on my mind. Cut some people off. Apologized for my mistakes. Rebuilt some friendships. Made new friends. Got used to the changes and new environment. Sometimes things happen for the best. Life won't always go how you planned, but it will definitely bring you to a good place. I got diagnosed with PMDD, a disorder that's basically PMS on steroids. Every month, the week before my period, I become severely depressed. I cry for no reason. If someone looks at me funny or forgets to text me back, I become convinced that they hate me and I should die. Minor problems feel like the entire world is collapsing on my shoulders. But once I got diagnosed, I finally knew why I felt this way sometimes and completely fine sometimes. So now, I can manage it. I wear a special bracelet during my bad week to remind me that the thoughts are just my body lying to me. I'm on medication. I have exercises and other resources I can do when I feel invasive thoughts or panic attack coming on. So, I guess I can't say I'm not suicidal at all anymore. But now I have the tools to deal with it. Well, I took the initiative to get help and was put on medication and went to therapy. Then when life was still crappy, I decided to get a new job that wasn't retail and full-time. Once I was more built up as a person and felt more fulfilled, I ended up realizing that one of my lifelong friends I met on an online video game for 6 years was the love of my life. And now he's here with me. So lots of work, but you can really 180 it the other direction. And boy is it so worth it. I was in a very dark time of my life. All hope seemed lost. I was out for a walk to go to the place I had planned it. My best friend called me out of the blue. And he never calls. It's always texting. We talked about our favorite YouTuber, Dashi. We laughed, and he asked what I was doing. I lied, and told him I was out for a walk. We kept talking, and I pictured how devastated he would have been. And I pictured my mom's face upon hearing the news of what I did. I couldn't hurt the monsieur. I am safe now. But he didn't even know about the circumstances of that call until a couple weeks ago. It felt like he had a radar or something, and knew to call. He literally never calls. I want to finish watching the world burn first. That is honestly a good reason. I am so entertained by the current state of the world that I wish I could stick around longer to see where it goes. I was admitted to the mental health ward for about a month after attempting to utilize the shotgun I had been keeping in my trunk to end it. A coworker stopped me. No cell phone. Visitors twice a week. No news or television. It helped a lot. It removed everything negative from my life, and all I saw were the people that cared, which changed my perspective. I got the chance to value what I have, rather than stress over what I don't, or things that are beyond my control. I got to nurture a garden and watch new life grow. I got to paint and explore my talents. I got the opportunity to see others through their growth and care as they saw me through mine. Above all other things, I found respect for myself. I learned to value myself, and that's far more important than value being carved and assigned to you by others. I lived with my abusive mom and was suicidal for years, suffocated by her rule over me. One day I thought, if I were gonna kill myself, I might as well run away from home and try to see what life was like before killing myself. Turns out life can be pretty amazing. It's been 5 years now. Since then, I've entered and graduated college, gained a pretty nice reputation in a niche industry, and am in a relationship with a wonderful partner. I saw it helped both to better my living conditions and my mental health. And life is pretty sweet right now. Fell in love. How long ago was this? People don't believe me when I say this is the solution to my problems. Keep giving me BS answers. Like love yourself first or you're just gonna give your problems to someone else. Those things are partially true, but I think they overlook just how devastating loneliness can be. It's not like finding someone immediately solves every problem that you have. But it turns out that when you're not dealing with the constant crushing feeling of loneliness, it's much easier to deal with whatever other shit you have going on. When you love someone, it makes up for what can be lost inside yourself. And in turn, the love you get from someone else will fill that void. I had been suicidal from about 13 to 26. The majority of the help was the meds. And while they're supporting me, I have a phenomenal therapist that is helping me recover. I hope someday to not need the meds, but am terrified of going back. The suicidal thoughts were with me for so long and so constantly. I felt like I had lost a friend. Only, it was an imaginary friend who wasn't that nice. Ketamine cancels suicidal ideation immediately. That was my experience. The right medication. I'd been depressed and suicidal since I was a teenager and made some attempts. I was in and out of therapy the whole time and on different meds. I'm high functioning, so I had relationships, friends, decent enough jobs, but nothing mattered and I wanted to die. Obviously I didn't want to feel this way, which is why I muddled through therapy and different meds for decades. Finally meds improved and I found a good psychiatrist who paid attention. I've been free of suicidal ideation for 5 years. No matter how cheesy it sounds, I realized I need to do my best to focus on a better future than my past failures and present health. Kind of a, if I make it through this, things are going to get better. And, very slowly, they have. I've been able to accept myself and sort through my thoughts. I've gotten intrusive thoughts a lot less frequently as of late, and they're not as violent as they used to be. I truly believe things are going to get even better and I deserve to be alive to see that. Nothing changed. I just decided I'd regret not giving myself a chance. Until life comes along and shows me I don't have any chances left, I'll just keep dragging myself along. I started working on revenge. The legal kind. Broke my emotion button. It sounds stupid, but I don't know how to better describe it. I was suicidal through my late teens and early 20s. Was in constant emotional turmoil and couldn't see a light at the end of the tunnel. It felt like a blanket was suffocating the life out of me. every moment of every day, and all I wanted to do was end it. After years of severe depression, something just broke, and I stopped feeling anything at all. I wasn't happy but also no longer sad. It's almost like being a shell of my former self. But I have absolutely no problems with it. Been almost 10 years since I had any suicidal thoughts. I do sometimes miss having those overwhelming feelings though, even the negative ones, without any real emotional response. You don't quite feel alive in the same way. Lost 2 brothers to it. I made a friend. I realized my curiosity to know what's next will always win out in the end. Death is finite. Life can always surprise you. I probably have answered this 5 different ways, but I kinda thought of a new one. My health. I really wanted to die because I thought I was unfixable. I already was diagnosed with ADHD but was diagnosed at 15 and I was not very responsive during therapy and treatment for it. Other than medication, I was taking other medications and felt there was something wrong. I am a hypochondriac due to my anxiety disorder, and I kept thinking I needed to restart with a new brain. I would have thoughts of hopelessness, worthlessness, lonesomeness, darkness, etc. I had taken psychology and cog-sci intro courses, so I knew the problem was my brain, but also knew I could never fix it because my identity is my brain. I started asking myself why I was even in college when my parents have 3 other children with brighter futures to pay for. I would make pros and cons lists in my head, and they would even out. I have come close to doing it so many times. However, at the same time, my anxiety and depression showed physical symptoms. I would get this feeling like I couldn't breathe, and immediately would get scared. I would sleep in much longer than usual and miss morning classes without second thought. I would cry for no reason, get lightheaded easily, have that tightness in my chest, eat a lot and not exercise, etc. I had a moment when I realized that these symptoms weren't normal for me, so I started therapy. Therapy turned into a week at an inpatient facility, then 3 months at an outpatient facility. I was diagnosed with panic disorder and generalized anxiety disorder and depression while there. I learned how to handle my crisis moments and how to not hurt myself. 2 years ago, I went off one of my medications I was on since the start of my intensive treatments and went back on my ADHD medication. I was taken off of it to help assess the newer medications. At this point, I realized I wasn't taking care of myself physically or mentally. I had gained a ton of weight between January 2017 and May 2018. A good 60 pounds. But I hadn't noticed until I was there. I decided to join a gym and get healthy and am now down almost 80 pounds. And counting. And have lowered my frequency of panic attacks by months. If I hadn't realized something was wrong and if I wasn't hypochondriacal, I might not be alive today. I still do sometimes have suicidal ideations and thoughts of self-harm, but I now am more productive, happier, and healthier. If my anxiety symptoms did not come through around that time, I would have not gotten the help I needed. Thank you so much for watching and have a good day.